Why hello sexy people, it's a Monday, which means it's weekly reset time. Weekly reset time means there's all kinds of goodies, and this week there's a ton actually. We got a new Mythic, we got ourselves a new class, all on Friday, so swipe your calendars away. This weekend is totally blown, you are Gems of Warring for the rest of your weekend. Congratulations in the new year. Let's go see what everything's all about. This week we've got ourselves a Tower of Doom event. It is going to be restricted to blue troops. If you jump into the shop and you buy up to tier 4, you're going to get yourself this weapon. This weapon, the Doom Tome, is actually not so bad. I mean, it's the same type as all the others, so I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not good. But as far as the, creating scatter damage and skulls and mana variety of these weapons, this is actually one of the better ones. This will create an Ice Storm if you level it all the way up, as well as creating a freeze at the top troop on their lineup. So in terms of its effects, aside from the fact that it's making a bunch of mana and skulls, the damage part is totally whatever. But the fact that it also makes an Ice Storm and freezes somebody, this makes this weapon probably the higher value, or the highest value at least, of these types of weapons that we've seen before. Still not the best, I still recommend you get it. Since it's going to be restricted based on blue troops, I did create a handful of teams for you. The first team is Old Faithful as far as just smashing on through pretty much anything. This is going to be using a Mountain Crusher with an Apothecary and an Irongut. The reason Vash is in here is so that if anyone happens to be Devour immune, this will curse them and then you can go ahead eating them anyway. And the way you'll do the actual Doom fights is you'll eat everybody that isn't the Doom, and then you'll use Vash to eat High King Irongut, and then you do a crap ton of damage to the Doom dude. So this will smash on through literally everything. As far as a fun alternate that you could be using, this is going to be taking advantage of Ms. Shahbanu Vespera, as we always do, as well as the new troops here. This is Treachery, so this is the Guardian, Guild Guardian. You grab them out of the guild chests. It looks like a ear canal, eardrum whenever you look to cast a spell. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. This is going to be giving all Naga 4 skills to every skill whenever you do a 4 or 5 match. And it actually does pretty decent damage itself, and we have Maraji Queen to get Shahbanu an extra 50% mana start. So this team, as long as you get Shahbanu casting, will destroy literally anything and everything. The benefit of using a Doom Blade against the Doom type troops is that of course you get to create even more Doom Skulls as a result. So this team will easily scale through and smash on through everything. Again, just focus on getting Shahbanu her mana and then obliterate the world. And if you're looking for something a little easier to put together, we got ourselves a Mang with Azura for some mana creation, we've got Moira to blow up a bunch of greens, and then we've also got Ocularen in here to make a bunch of greens. So this team should have tons of mana generation within it, as well as methods of creating mana for your Mang, damage for your Mang. So Moira's going to pump out the skulls, all the greens that get made by Ocularen is going to turn a crap ton of things into Doom Skulls when you cast Moira. So this team should smash on through pretty easy, also fairly easy to put together. So those are your teams for the Tower of Doom event. In the event keys this time around, we have Keytar troops. Keytar troops. The land of BDSM, mummified, more or less useless people. So if you're looking to open up Keytar keys, you're looking for a Pharaoh's Raw more than anything. That's pretty much the only thing in here that you actually care about. Pharaoh's Raw, obviously super nice for soul farming. But aside from all of that, like most of these troops, just about literally all of them, never get used. So if you are looking to open up event keys, I would be doing it purely to have a chance at getting yourself a Pharaoh's Raw. Otherwise, you keep them shits in your pocket. In the glory rewards section of the shop, we got ourselves a Tutankhamen, however you say that. It's a cat in bandages. It is basically, wow. Okay. So, alright, how do I even get past this? So, it curses and death marks the strongest enemy and then destroys a bunch of gems of that specific color. So it is a mana generator at the end of the day, but it's really not the best. Destroying gems is usually a lot harder to try and loop with. It is more dependable if you're very strategic about it, but it is more annoying. 29 gems is obviously very nice, but more than likely there's never going to be 29 gems of a specific color on the board, so cursing and death marking, not exactly the highest priority debuffs on the planet either. And none of this is very any good. So this is a person you're not really going to end up using pretty much at all, but they do give you a bunch of arcane swamp trade stones, so feel free to open up a bunch of them kitties. and, you know, just avert your eyes whenever you cast the spell. Jesus Christ. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for the Possessed King to get into the Soul Forge, and I got some cool news for you, everybody. He's in another castle, so I have no idea where Possessed King is, but instead you've got yourselves a Pharaoh's Ra, so if you're not looking to open up event keys, you could potentially just craft one if you want. Obviously, farming souls is pretty important. Pharaoh's Ra is the highest value souls farming troop you could possibly get, so obviously that's not so bad. Queen Aurora, pretty solid defensive troop, but I wouldn't prioritize crafting her. Infernus, very good PvP troop if you have a fire tree having class available to you all the way up to 100, then Infernus would make your PvP teams absolutely crazy. Megavore is pretty damn solid, nothing crazy. So there's nothing in here that's immediately high priority to craft. I would say Pharaoh's Ra and Infernus would be the most obvious ones, then followed by Megavore, and then followed by Queen Aurora. That would be my priority, but again, nothing in here is like super duper crazy. Infernus obviously to me is probably the most high value as far as PvP goes, but that's like one specific game mode. So those are your mythics this time around. Then we get to the weapons section, and there's like a billion things in here this time around. So we've got Withering Touch, which is not very good. It's just stealing life and then draining mana from them. Not the best. Bone Shield is a mixed type weapon based on Keytar troops. Keytar troops not really the best. I don't see ever making a pure Keytar lineup, at least not yet. So while it's in there, and I do generally recommend you craft the mixed type weapons, not the highest priority or value, at least certainly at the moment. Beyond all of that, you got yourselves the Dead Gauntlet. This is at least allowing you to create a team of just undead troops. Since we have a couple of undead classes in the Death Knight and in the Necromancer, there is some options with this. The one problem is if you level it all the way up, it creates a Bone Storm, so absolutely prepare your butt for that. But this weapon was definitely the higher priority craft as far as the mixed type weapons go. Between the Bone Shield and the Dead Gauntlet, definitely the Dead Gauntlet. Doomed Helm is completely, at least at this point in time, something that you can pass on. Definitely not worth all this high cost for all that crafting stuff. So nothing really craftable this week, admittedly. If you're a collector and you're just trying to prioritize that, Dead Gauntlet would be the highest priority thing in here, but even that is not necessarily the best crafting thing that's in here. Bone Shield would be next, and then everything else is kind of meh. So you can probably save all your jewels and diamonds this time around, at least as far as weapons are concerned. But again, you never know. So if you got the resources and you feel like just having stuff, that's my priority list for those. Now let's jump into the spoiler section. Then on Monday, we've got ourselves the Goblin Rocket. Goblin Rocket is going to be messing up all of your fights, and he's going to be showing up. He's not too crazy, he just explodes a gem, does a little damage, gets an extra turn, and he's out of there. That's about it as far as Goblin Rocket's concerned, but expect that dude all the way till Thursday. On Tuesday, we've got ourselves a Sea of Sorrow Delve event / Faction Assault. This is the team where I am going to use my traditional Mountain Crusher, Apothecary, High King Irongut, and Possessed King. This will blow up everything in the whole thing. Get that code in the description. On Wednesday, we've got ourselves a Shrinks. It's like a Sphinx, only tiny. And it's fine, it's cute, you know, it looks very regal. It's giving you a team bonus to Keytar troops, which is not so great, since we all know Keytar troops aren't so hot. But it's out there on Wednesday. Feel free to go get yourself that bad boy. And then on Thursday, all is peaceful in the land of Crystara. Because on Friday, we've got ourselves an Archmagus event. Jesus Christ! Brand new class, it's a Mystic type, it's got Arcane Storms and Chaos. This means that it's going to have 50% mana start and 20% spell resistance, thank you to the Arcane Tree. It means it's also going to have a Dust Storm start and a Lightning Strike, which gives you a mana bounce on every 4 or 5 out of the Storms tree if you so desire. And then in the Chaos tree, you could potentially be diseasing on 4 or 5s with Plague Bearer, or you could be starting with a Doomstorm, like a Psychopath. All of those things are available to you. In the traits, it's kind of super uninspired and uninteresting. So Mana Flare, trait 3 here, is going to get you 2 bonus purple whenever you match purple. That's fun. It's also super boring. So in terms of value, this class is going to be probably mid-tier as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing about this that's going to make it wildly crazy or super interesting to play as. It's just, you know, a Mystic version of a bunch of other classes that we've already got. And then, when we glance at the weapon, we proceed to crap our pants in anticipation, as this weapon is basically your essence of evil in the positive context. This thing is going to ensure that whatever person on your team you want to make feel really special gets every single buff imaginable, and then it also blows up the board just for fun, so it's going to be a looping weapon that's pure purple. So this is going to potentially enable Shahbanu teams on Purple Day Guild Wars. This might just be a very nice Purple Day Guild Wars weapon in general. This is just a solid mana generation, very cool status effect granting thing. So in terms of the weapon value, it's already super nice. But then when we look down into its upgrades, we see Peaceful? Silence the first enemy? So if you thought String Fiddler was the bee's knees, this weapon is not only String Fiddler-y, but it's also giving you a ton of status effects while it does it. And it's pure purple, so it's very easy to combo with other teams and super useful for Guild Wars. This thing is super high value. I cannot tell you enough how important this weapon is going to be to have, so please make sure you go get yourself this thing by either winning 250 fights as an Archmagus or by using a Major Orb of Ascension on the Archmagus class. I generally wouldn't recommend that, but I've done it 4 times, so who am I to tell you what to do with your stuff? But man oh man, are they going to make us earn this class event. This is literally the entire list of troops that you're going to have available to you, if you even have all of them. And they're all kind of bad, like they're all pretty bad. So the way I'm building this is that Silvermaiden here is basically a very decent frontliner, so I'm going to put her at the front. I'm assuming it's a her? Yeah, it's a her. Those are totally hers. But then they're going to be at the front just trying to survive. Elspeth is basically going to be here to make mana by blowing one of them up, and then the other one will blow up something else, and maybe you'll get some mana out of using Elspeth. They are empowered, so you'll get some mana out of that. But then I'm just using the strongest weapon that I have as far as damage output goes. You could potentially use a Dawnbringer, you can use any of the Doom weapons. Literally any weapon that loops and does damage, or just does a crap ton of damage, is going to be your best friend. So this event's not going to be fun and easy. If you're not doing this with potions, you're going to be crying your eyes out. You'll probably be able to get through the first like 3 to 5 levels without potions. Maybe you can get it all the way through without potions, but it's going to be super rough because these troops are trash. Phew, that's going to be a sweet Friday. Thank God nothing else is coming. What the fuck? So we've got ourselves Umenath? I'm going to say that's Umenath. It is a very angry looking kitty person that is a divine Raksha type. This troop is very weird. So this is a new mythic that's being introduced that is definitely trying to be sitting in the front line, as every single trait that it has is trying to improve its frontline performance. So it's going to be putting a hunter's mark on enemies when it hits them with skulls, which is nutso. But then it's going to also have 20% skull dodge, which is pretty okay. But then it gets 4 attack whenever you do 4 or more gem matches. So this whole gaining a ton of attack, putting hunter's marks on people when you hit them, all of the traits are put me in the top slot. And that is hard to do with mythics. As you can see, it requires 3 different mana colors and 25 of it. So this restricts us down to just yellow, purple, and blue mana troops to try and throw under it, or having incredibly strong mana generation overlapping colors here. Since it is a Raksha, the later released Guild Guardian troop is going to fit with this to give it some boosty boost if that's something that's interesting to you. However, that is going to be even harder to create mana for, since that's also going to be sharing red with this troop. So I'm kind of interested in this troop. I think it's going to be very hard to use. As far as its spell goes, its spell is basically Ubistet-ish. It's taking a troop that you target and using all of their stats against it. So think of this as like literally the reverse Ketris. This thing isn't doing Ketris-like damage because it's not doing splash damage in any capacity, but the amount of damage that nuke is worth is pretty much exactly equivalent to a Ketris. The difference is that it's not based on your skills, it's based on theirs. So this potentially makes this troop more viable for events. However, I don't really think so. This troop is interesting, but I'm admittedly having a hard time trying to figure out how I would want to use this thing. I'm excited it exists, but it's super awkward. So on Friday, while you're doing all your fun class event stuff with your Archmagus, make sure that you save all your keys to try and get yourself an Umenath. Umenath is coming out on Friday. Jesus Christ, what a week, huh? That's a lot of stuff for a week. Gems of War is kind of popping off for 2020 as an intro to the new year. So I hope you are able to get yourself the new Mythic. I hope you're able to get that sick new class weapon that's going to be super good. And you have a nice casual Tower of Doom this week. That's all I got for you this time around. Happy New Year, and I will see you online, on a stream, maybe, in Twitch land, if you're a cool person. Otherwise, I'll just see you in a future video. Okay, bye, thanks. Mwah.